But let's take note of why Thales is significant. That is, he's talking about what sometimes called natural philosophy. Nowadays we call it science. I mentioned in class that Sir Isaac Newton held the chair at Oxford in natural philosophy. Now, Isaac Newton did not do any philosophy. He was a scientist. He was a physicist. But this is the origins of science. Natural philosophy and metaphysics were common. And notice what they're doing in natural and science and in metaphysics is you're going beyond, what you commonly see, what you see in the world, and you're giving an explanation of how it actually works. And in order to do that, what we're trying to do in metaphysics is explain the nature of things and the origin of things. That is, where did everything come from? Kind of the question in cosmology, and what is it made of? And what's unique about Thales' approach to philosophy that really changed the course of how people thought about these things. Before this, they just accepted the myths about the gods. But what's different here is the sources of the theory. I mean, the myths about the gods were passed down in our own society. If we're thinking about how the world created, oftentimes religious people chime in. One of the common things that we hear is the biblical story about creation, that God was the source of everything, that he originated, everything was created. But notice what Thales is looking for is a very different kind of theory. That is, and first, where the theory is different is the source of the theory. It's not that God spoke to some prophet and told him what the answer is, but rather Thales and his followers are going to rely on what you might call empirical evidence. Empirical means that it comes from experience. That is, the theory is based on observation, what you see in the world. So we see things. He was looking around. He saw stuff about water. And he saw that water falls and things grow. He saw that animals engaged in intercourse, there's this wet stuff, and a baby animal is produced. A baby human is produced in the same way. So there are observations on which he bases this theory. If you're sitting at the delta of a river in ancient Turkey and you see at the mouth of the river, you see all of a sudden sand collecting and sort of land growing out of it. So it leads you to think, well, gee, land grows out of water. So his theory is based on observation, on experience, but the other key issue is that he has a certain theoretical methodology. That is, it's methodological, it's theoretical. That is, it's not just saying what you see, but rather it's going to explain this by giving you a more comprehensive theory about the inner workings and how these things came to be in this fashion.